welcome to our podcast. My name is Hansel. I'm here with my bestie Wayne, who wrote a book which, like this podcast, is also called theCoderBros Go to White Castle. It's a book about our story, how we grew up Asian, how we became best friends, and how we found our White Castle. Only our metaphorical destination wasn't a fast food joint, but an awesome little business called The Coder School that we now run together. So we started this podcast to explore the stories of other Asian Americans just like us and how they found their own White Castle. Wayne, who do we got on tap for us today?
All right, our guest today has their own podcast called Aconic, which is levels up on the professional scale compared to ours, so we're happy he's here. Want to learn from the master. He's had a long and successful career in brand management at large companies such as Clorox, and he's also become an international speaker and best-selling author on innovation and design. But what I find most interesting is that he was the lead singer in a band called Funk U. To be clear, that's Funk, F-U-N-K, not the other phrase. So welcome, Soon Yu.
Come on, Soon, sing along, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Okay, you guys in the audience don't see this, but we're bobbing our heads here. We're bobbing our heads.
Yeah, absolutely are. We're all too afraid to sing, but we're bobbing our heads. Well, Soon, all right. Well, welcome to the show. Let's get started, man. Just tell us, start off by telling us what you're up to today.
Today, or just sort of in general today?
In general, these days.
These days, yeah. As you guys mentioned, top of mind, obviously, has been this podcast we launched in September. It's been really fun. It's called Aconic, and it really focuses on featuring great, iconic Asian leaders, and specifically their heroes' journeys. Just like the two of you, your whole journey to White Castle, we kind of want to hear everyone's journey to White Castle, right? And so, like Friday, I just interviewed Secretary Elaine Chao and asked her where her White Castle was. So it's great. I love your
awesome.
Elaine Chao. That's crazy.
Wow.
Mitch McConnell's wife?
Sorry?
Mitch McConnell's wife. Is that
Oh,
Elaine
yeah.
Chao? Oh, my goodness. All right.
I asked her about meeting Mitch and about her dating days in college. And she didn't meet Mitch till she was 40. So there was this whole gap in her personal history. Of course, we had to fill that in. And then she, funnest thing she talked about was how nervous Mitch was going to meet her parents for the first time. Because for Secretary Chao, she had never brought a guy home in 40 years. And so it was kind of a big deal when she brought Mitch home.
Yeah, and then there's this white guy from Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I don't want to give away all the podcasts, but
yeah.
Basically she talked about the idea that she was a tall Asian gal back in her days. She's a few years older than me.
Okay.
And she said back then it was hard to find somebody who's taller than her, and she wanted to marry.
Well, yeah, the Asians tend to not be that tall.
Yeah, and thanks to lots of milk and good nutrition, I think that's definitely changed. But I'm definitely not as tall as her. So yeah, I get why she might have found it hard to find a spouse early on. And
that's hilarious. That is a huge name, man. And so who are some of the other names you were mentioning before? Like, tell us about your podcast and who these people are.
Yeah, well, the whole idea sort of started way back when the Asian hate crimes were happening.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Because of that, luckily, TAF was formed, the Asian American Foundation. So they're one of our big sponsors. At the time, I was also volunteering at the Stanford Business School for the Alumni Association. We do a lot of panels and fireside chats. And because of COVID, we had to take those online. But during that period, I wrote an article, and because I was really bothered by these random acts of hate towards Asians, and I wrote articles. It was titled "Who Owns the AAPI Brand?" And as I researched it and interviewed a bunch of people, the conclusion I came to was we haven't owned it. We pretty much let others usurp it for the longest time. And partly it's been challenging. We have like 50 different ethnicities or languages that are spoken in the community. It was just hard to sort of mobilize until TAF, that sort of the whole community. And it took, unfortunately, something like Asian hate crimes to galvanize us all. But prior to that, the whole branding was basically taken over by not our community, and therefore there were a whole bunch of racial slurs and a whole bunch of stereotypes that were basically thrown our way. And so my whole thinking about this is we need to take back that brand, and the way we do that isn't to have the mindset that, hey, let's get invited to the party or have a seat at the table. We're throwing the best parties, man. People should be begging us to come to our parties, and well, we've got our table's crowded. You want a seat, you've got to earn that seat. So,
Nice.
and part of that is showcasing amazing people like you two, right? Who are doing great things for both the community, but just the larger society, and telling their stories. And I wanted to make sure that we could get out all these great Asian heroes with their stories. And so that's kind of why we started the podcast.
Oh, wow.
Now, what's a little bit different about this podcast, guys, is that in the hero's journey, we do focus a lot of attention on not the highs, it's really the lows. And we talk about when these amazing people actually failed, and what did they do about it, and where is their source of sort of, solace and inspiration, and sort of to sort of get over it. And so we talk about everything from mental health. Some people talk about divorce, and people talked about,
Oh, wow.
and we're talking about people like Joe Bay, who's the CEO of KKR. We're talking about Manny Tate, who's the CEO of Bain and Company. Andrew Yang, who was a former president of Canada. I mean, these are all. I mean, we're going to be speaking with Jeremy Lin. We're going to be speaking with, Lisa Ling. All these amazing people, and they're going to tell us their failure stories, their rock bottom stories, and when they looked in the mirror and didn't like what they saw.
That's really cool. And so, I mean, these are some pretty big names. How do you land these guys? What kind of connections do you need? What kind of tips do you have for Wayne to go grab some?
I want to play one-on-one with Jeremy Lin. I mean, come on, hook me up. I just want to shoot a free throw with Jeremy Lin. That would be a life dream. How do you do it?
I beg a lot. Okay,
okay, there you go. That helps.
I have no pride. Okay,
there you go.
It's so funny. No, actually, truthfully, we do have incredible sponsors. We have the founders of the Asian Alumni Association of the Stanford Business School. That provides an incredible network. We have the Asian American Foundation, obviously, representing the entire community, and they have access to their whole board. If you just look at their board, it's Jerry Yang, Joe Tsai, Indra, it's all these incredible people, right? And so, just to get access to the board would probably fill up 2 years worth of the podcast. So that, and then also we've have a partnership with Gold House, Bing Chen and their team, and they do the A100, they do the galas and Hollywood. They basically represent the arts and entertainment.
So they can just call up the Rolodex, just like call
up Simu Liu.
Exactly.
Shang-Chi, and just be like, hey, Soon's got a podcast. Would you just get
Michelle
on here?
Yeoh, hey, what's up? Let's get a boba.
She's got to promote her next movie, I'm sure. But that's super cool. Well, so
well, I was going to say, to your point, what happened was I attended the TAF conference last May, and this is what I did. We were so new, we hadn't launched yet. And so I just hung out right at the door of the green room, which, the green room is the room where they basically let the speakers sort of relax and kind of get their thoughts together before they actually get on stage, right? So basically, I basically curried favor with the security guard, and started talking him up, and we became pals, and then eventually. Eventually he left in the green room, and then I was like serving tea.
Oh, nice! So you're actually serving boba to Michelle Yeoh.
Serving tea, and sparkling water, and they say, "Oh, by the way,"
that's awesome.
I haven't launched it, but would you mind being a guest? And I got probably like 10 guests that way. So that's
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, like I said, I borrow and steal anywhere I can, guys.
That's awesome. So Aconic is the name of the podcast. That sounds like an awesome podcast. Everybody should definitely check it out. Now, that is not your main thing you're doing nowadays, is it? Is that the only thing? What are some of the other things you're up to?
Yeah, it's sort of a balance. That actually takes about half my time. I still do a lot of consulting. I've written a couple books, and like we were talking before the whole we're recording this, is that I still have clients, and people sort of call on me for some of the subject matter expertise I've written about. And the two books, one is around iconic branding. It's called Aconic Advantage, and it really helps brands think about how do they become standard bearers for the category that they're competing in, and then more importantly, how do they stand the test of time and really own and become that standard bearer. And the second book is called Friction, and contrary to what most people think, it's not about taking away friction. And I do talk about, it's important to take away bad friction, but there's a whole lot of good friction in systems, and we need to not throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need to keep all that good friction, and in many ways, we actually need to increase friction. So in other words, we got to make our customers and our employees and our personal relationships actually work harder for us. In order
So what is the elevator pitch response to that? Because when you first said that, I was like, what the hell? Why do we want more friction?
Exactly, right?
What's the elevator response to that?
Less clicks.
No, actually,
Does it make it
sometimes
more-
more clicks actually gives people a sense of security, believe it or not. So I really examined the idea that the happy chemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, and adrenaline, they're actually only created when there's agitation and when there's friction. And so what you need to examine is when you're creating like a signature experience for your brand, or you want to create loyalty with and engagement with your audience. If you're frictionless, pretty much at some point, the first time they're like, wow, this is great. It wasn't as painful as the time before.
Right.
But they get conditioned where eventually they tune it out and they forget the fact that it was painful at one point, right? And so they don't even consider you anymore. Whereas, hey, look, let's take one simple example where, dopamine is created. We've all been to Best Buy and we've had to buy a flash drive, and it comes in one of those plastic clams, right? They're really painful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scissors, you cut it open.
Oh yeah, been there.
Still trying it, right?
It's impossible.
Back in the
I
day.
usually cut my finger.
Right. Well, there's a brand where the opening of the package takes maybe on average 5 or 6 times longer. And yet people are so in love with the brand that they actually keep the packaging after they've spent anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes opening that package. And that's Apple, because what Apple has thought about is the idea that, hey, our products are like treasures and our packaging are like treasure chests. And my son, we bought him an Apple Watch maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember. And he was so excited. It was his best Christmas present. But the 20 or 30 minutes he spent opening it up and getting it set up and, picking his whatever icons and all that, right? Were probably the best 20 or 30 minutes of Christmas for him. And of course he's kept his package, right?
That's the Apple magic, man. They discovered that, right? They're the first ones to have like super nice packaging. It's part of the process of getting your product.
Think about gamification. Gamification is all about creating good friction, right? You're actually making people, do scavenger hunts and do augmented reality and whatever to find the latest and greatest Nike exclusive release, right? You see people standing with their cell phones in, Times Square or Union Square.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's going on? They're, oh yeah, we're trying to figure out where we can actually visually see the augmented reality number that then takes us to a website. Then
Brilliant.
That then lets us,
true.
wait in queue to potentially then go to the store to potentially then line up to buy the product.
So that's good. Okay, so now I get you. It's good friction. I was thinking you're just friction in general. I'm like, well, so if all our processes are totally inefficient, then that's good. But that's not what you're saying.
Yeah,
it's got to be good friction. All right,
it's got to be good friction. And we identify sort of 7 key characteristics or virtues of good friction. One is increased engagement. And the other is meaning. Actually, if something's too easy, it's not as meaningful to you. And so sometimes the added steps it takes to get something or acquire something, that creates much more meaning. Exclusivity, right? Sometimes the harder it is to get an Hermes bag, the more our wives want it, right? So who knows? Right? It should be easy, but it's not. And they love that about it. And they love it and hate it, right? There's competence, like the whole 10,000 hours. There's actually a reason behind why it takes 10,000 hours and why the Navy SEALs or the Army Rangers require the requirements that they do, because, it's important for you to build that competence. There's a whole bunch of sort of traits that lead to that. Rapport. Sometimes it's actually better to, instead of just doing a favor for somebody, if you know how to ask for a good favor, you actually end up having somebody who's more vested in you, and somebody who now, because they've done something for you, just feels a certain degree of ownership over your success, and therefore is going to probably pay more attention to you. And Benjamin Franklin, he used to have this rival, but he understood that this rival, just like him, loved the books. And so what did he do? He tried to build rapport with him. He went over to him and said, hey, can I borrow ABC book, which was like the most rarest book of the collection. But
Okay.
it kind of signaled to his rival that, wow, you understand books because you asked for my best book. And if I give it to you, you probably know how to treasure. And then obviously when you return it, they had something to talk about and they became friends through that, right? So there's all these things that actually create incredibly what I call positive friction that we just need to think about.
Awesome, man. That's really good stuff. I mean, so before you wrote the book, I mean, it sounds like you have this sort of marketing, sort of UX, user experience sort of mentality. How did you get into it? What made you write your first book?
Unemployment.
You're like, I got nothing to do. Let me just write a book.
I knew
Hey, man.
I knew that my days were very numbered at this company. I worked at VF. It's a huge apparel company with like 30 brands, North Face, Vans, some
Yeah,
Supreme,
sure.
actually,
North Face, yeah.
And the CEO at the time, I'll call him out, Steve Rendell. He didn't like me, right? He really
He
didn't
didn't
like
like you.
me.
What's
He just
to
didn't
not
like
like
me. I
about
don't know.
you? Yeah.
How's that I think I
possible?
smelled bad. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
So no matter what I did, it was wrong. And he was about to be groomed to be the next CEO. And every position that I was being proposed for, I got nixed. For some reason, I couldn't move past a certain level. And I talked to the current CEO. I said, "There's probably not much hope here." He goes, "Probably not." And so, but I had about a 6-month window, and so I was thinking, what am I going to do? They're not firing me right away. I've got 6 months. What do I do with that? So every weekend, I went with my son to our office, and he would do his math little exercises. I think he was only like 5 at the time. And I would write the book. And so I did that for probably 6 months straight every weekend.
So this is like 10 years ago or so. So you had already like pretty far along in your career. You had a lot of good knowledge. You felt like that you could put to a book.
Yeah, I mean, and I actually came up with probably 3 book ideas. I wrote a one-page proposal on all 3, sent it to a bunch of friends and people I trusted and respected, and they came back and said, "Hey, we think this one probably is the most interest and commercial value based on what we've seen." And so
So
that's
were you going for the commercial value? Was it like, hey, I'm going to try to see if I can make money, being an author?
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Wow.
I think I always had the seed plant that, hey, I would love to be a subject matter expert. I think there's probably half your audience that at some point, oh, I'd love to write a book, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, we never thought we would make money on it. We're just
Right,
digging
that's
around
true.
ourselves.
We never had that leap of faith.
No, you guys wrote a book. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, but we're not making money on it.
Yeah,
No.
that's right.
Wait. Let's be clear. Anyone who's thinking about writing a book, you're not going to make money on unless you are a New York Times bestseller, and it's probably
Michael
fiction.
Crichton. Yeah, unless
Yeah,
you're Michael Crichton. I think.
For nonfiction, it's really rare to make big money, right? Like, salary.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. You
So
do
was it
as
more
a
like your
calling
stepping stone
card.
to be able to do other marketing stuff and speaking engagement right on?
Absolutely. It is a calling card. And you're right. It's kind of a way, an access, and for people to want to hire you for some subject matter expertise. And Hanson, you're asking. I think one of the things that I've always had is the ability to look at a lot of information, a lot of complexity, and dumbify it. I mean, that's been a skill of my whole life. Is when people throw lots of different things and lots of different things going on, I kind of get to the crux of what are the 1 or 2 things that we really need to think about here and act on. And that was really helpful in terms of, asking some fundamental questions like, how do you actually, the 3 questions I had written about. One was, how might you, I think, activate and be successful with corporate innovation, not just innovation, but, inside a corporation, right?
okay.
And
So if you're already in that job, to try to
I was
keep your
already in that job. I was head of innovation there, right? So,
Right.
and then the other was, how do you build brands that last? Because I had done research on 50 different brands like Nike, Burberry, a whole bunch of brands that stood the test of time. And then I can't even remember my third one, whatever it was. But anyway, this is the one that actually people got really excited about. And then in doing the first book, one of the things you always talk about in terms of building great brands is that most of them have what I call signatures. Your guys is probably White Castle, the whole Coder School. There's a lot of different things that you guys have signatures
Ours
around.
is to be cheap bastards, eat at White Castles,
Kind of idiots that fell
Yeah,
into
and
place.
be idiots. Adding bad friction, everything opposite.
That's
pretty
right. We
much.
leave the good stuff to people like you, soon.
You're the
That's
180
right.
of everything I've written about it, and you know what? It's working. Okay, so just stay with it, man. And you know what?
Yeah.
What's great about doing everything wrong is that no one else is going to do it. So you'll have a point of difference.
That's true. Nobody will follow.
Right.
At least everybody, the things that we do, people look at, and then it's so bad that they're like, we're not even going to copy that.
So what was your first like speaking engagement like when you first somebody called you and they're like, "Hey, do you want to speak here?" Were you like, "Why does somebody want me to speak?" What did that feel like? Did they pay you for it? Tell us about your first one.
Yeah, so my first one, I was still on the job, and then there's the first one when I actually got paid. So I'll talk about both real quickly. The first one was this innovation, front end of an innovation conference that happens in Boston every year. And they asked me to come and speak about change management. Actually, that was the third one, innovation change
Oh,
management.
there you go. There you go.
I have a good friend who was a professor at Stanford, Chip Heath. The Heath brothers wrote a book called Switch, and Switch is all about change management. And I had taken all their principles and actually applied it against the idea of how do you change the culture within a company to be much more innovative. Anyway, so that's what I talked about. And I went there and spoke, and it was just like eye-opening, and it was exciting and fun. And
Were you nervous as hell?
I really was that.
Were you nervous as hell? Like your first?
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I went to the bathroom
yeah.
like 5 times before I got up. So I was super nervous.
That's awesome.
And
That is great.
I didn't even need to go to the bathroom. I just went in there, looked at the
Right.
mirror, and I'm like, okay. They, before I got out.
Yeah. That's cool. But you probably don't do that anymore, right? Now it's just like second
No, I
nature.
still do that. I still do that.
I still go to the
do at
bathroom
least
like
once.
18 times. But that's just because we're getting old.
habit.
That's not because of nervousness.
Well, this seems like an easy.
No,
Yeah.
you know what? I think I still get butterflies, not as extreme, but there's always this moment before you get on that you just have a little bit of excitement, right? A little
Yeah.
bit of energy.
Absolutely.
And I think it makes you better actually as a speaker because it's just like before getting on this podcast, there's sort of this energy and this vibe that you sort of get. And, I have an on and off mode. And if I'm on the off mode, oh boy, I've tried to do, video calls and it's just awful. So it's good to have that nervous energy. And back to your question, after I did it, I was like elated. And the organizers came up to me and said, "Hey, you know what? You're doing this. That was your first time?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You were great." And then they actually asked me to not only come back the following year, but to chair the entire event.
Oh wow.
There you go.
Yeah. So then I ended up, this is where the whole moderation skill came to sort of, fruition is then I chaired the entire event. And so a lot of that was introducing the speakers and then coming up after the speakers have spoken to kind of summarize to the audience, what did we just hear? And then really try to connect it to what the next speaker was going to say. And that's kind of what I do at the podcast. I try to ask great questions. And then when the guest is finished, I usually try to summarize what was important for the audience to just take away and then connect it to the next question I'm about to ask. And so, really
right on, man. It's
cool.
a tough skill to have, man. And part of it, I was reading on, I saw you have a Wikipedia page, which is awesome in itself, but I was reading on there that you quit one of your big jobs, I guess at Clorox to do retail at Crate and Barrel.
Oh yeah.
Is that for real or what? Like,
yeah, you did that?
It was real. No, yeah, I quit Clorox, and even the reporter it was a Wall Street Journal reporter actually did the calculation, said you took an 85% pay cut. I go, yeah, that's about right.
So how far along in your career were you like a pretty senior dude already, and you're just like, I'm out, I'm gonna go?
I had graduated from Stanford Business School, and I had been at Clorox for 4 years maybe, and so I was already a brand manager, and then I was a customer marketing manager. So yeah, I was pretty far along in what I call a marketing career. Yeah. And I decided I had the itch to, live in the Bay Area, right? Itch to start a company. And so I quit. And this was probably like a 98 timeframe, right before the big .com. Right. And I left and said, I have a retail concept, which nobody wanted to invest in. Everybody wanted to invest in an internet thing, right?
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Like
anything internet.
Right. And it was called Gesundheit, and it was really focused on people with
Bless
allergies.
you.
Yeah, bless you. People with allergies and asthma and trying to help them breathe happier and healthier. And there's all these new products that come out, and hard goods and soft goods, and the retail for that had been so nascent and it had all been cataloged. And so I thought, hey, it's an opportunity to bring it to physical retail. And so I said, but I don't know diddly about physical retail. So I quit for a full year and worked for no one would hire me. But luckily, I had my friend at Clorox, who's I think good friend's wife was running the Crate and Barrel at Hillsdale. It's not there anymore, okay? But there used to be a Crate and Barrel at
At
Hillsdale.
Hillsdale.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember that.
Hillsdale Mall, right? I worked there for a full year, and I wanted to do a full year mainly because I wanted to do Christmas. I wanted to do the day after
Wow.
The
Christmas,
hard stuff.
New
Wow. And
Year's,
you were actually making
right?
$5 an hour. This is
Yeah,
back when
$5
five
an
bucks
hour,
was
and
legal.
I was doing inventory. I wanted to do inventory,
What?
accounting control. I wanted the whole sort of a cycle so that I could learn retail. And in the meantime, I was writing my business plan. I woke up every morning before I went to Crate and Barrel, and for the first hour, I'd make 20 calls, and I'd be
Wow.
lucky if I got one call back. But
Yeah.
that's all I was trying to pitch investors or advisors or anybody would talk to me. And yeah, it took a whole year before I got any traction
That's
on.
amazing though. I mean, that's like what you read about. That's the big sacrifice, right? I want to do this thing and have this gazoon tight. And so therefore I'm going to quit to make $5 an hour just so I can learn. And meanwhile, you're basically hustling like mad.
And I'm living
That's
off
amazing,
of
man.
frozen chicken breast from Costco and rice. And
There you go.
Or at least you
I
got your
had so
protein.
much.
Yeah,
That's
protein, a little
amazing.
bit of carbs. Yeah.
Wow. So would you suggest like your son or other young people to do something like this who, let's say that 4 years of school, or I mean 4 years of company experience, would you suggest them to do something crazy like that and just
If you're young, I absolutely. Here's the thing. I think startups are hard, and just in
yeah.
general, startups are very hard. And if you have a mindset that you're doing a startup and you think it's going to be one career enhancing in the sense of the latter, okay, if you that's your mindset, or two, you're going to make a lot of money or you're going to be prosperous by doing it, then I think you're probably entering it with the wrong intentions and
Mm.
expectations, and you're probably going to
Yeah.
be set up for disappointment. If you, on the other hand, say, I got something I really think is really interesting, I'm super passionate about it. I think about it night and day. I think about it when I'm in the shower. I can't stop thinking about it. I
Yeah.
can't stop talking
Yeah.
about it. And guess what? I want to give it a go. And worst case, somebody's going to pay me to learn from my mistakes and learn new skills, learn a new industry, and it may not be what I call sequential from a career point of view, and it might be highly tangential, but from a life arc, it's going to be incredibly enriching. If
Yeah.
you have that attitude,
That's
then
awesome.
hell yeah. Anytime
That's the
you're
key, right? You got to
gonna
want to do it because of it, not because of trying to
Not
make
because
money
of
or
trying to
whatever.
make
You got to
money.
have the
or
passion.
trying to advance your career, right? And I
That's
think,
true too.
right,
Like,
right, if you can think career much broader, not a career arc, but more like
Yeah.
what are you learning? What can what I think wealth of experiences can you bring to whatever situation,
Yeah.
job you're
We
going to be
we
going
see that
to.
as like your big picture of career is your life arc. That's what we call
Yeah.
our White Castle. It's like,
Yep.
don't always focus on trying to get promoted in the money or whatever. Do what makes you happy over that bigger life arc picture.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
Absolutely.
awesome.
especially like the money, right? I mean, you went for 85% deduction, right? But your
Yeah, just to
life arc
learn.
and what you learned, you could not have learned that even if they were going to promote you to, the next level, which probably would have been vice president or something like that. It would have been a title, and it would be nice at the happy hours to mention that kind of stuff, right? So, I mean, you had to deal with even probably that Asian pride, right? When you
The
do
ego,
go,
yep.
yeah, the ego. And
Yeah.
so more power to you that you
Yeah.
you you had a strong enough ego to say, hey, I'm doing this because I want to do this, not,
Yeah.
not because of making more money or
Yeah,
my
speaking of
title.
the Asian ego, I mean, so let's back up to your background real quick. So I think you're from Taiwan. You were
Yep.
there till a couple years old. Tell us like kind of how you grew up. I mean, because it's pretty unique. A lot of the Asians grow up with that whole engineering math attitude, but you're on the other side of the brain, right? You're really good at relationships, talking to people, which I think is even more powerful. But tell us about your upbringing.
So I grew up pretty much where I am right now. I'm in Davis, California, right? I came to the U.S. from Taiwan. I was born in Taiwan. I came here when I was 3 years old. My dad had left when I was probably 1 years old to go to grad school, and then we kind of met up with him later. Spent a year at Berkeley, and then from there we moved to Davis, and I spent most of my life in Davis, and then went back for high school in
So at
Taiwan.
that point, were you pretty much American? Did you speak any Chinese or
Oh
anything?
God,
Did you?
yeah. I mean, I spoke Taiwanese, but I didn't even speak Mandarin, right?
Oh
And so
wow,
I had to
full on
learn
Taiwanese.
Mandarin when I was in high school, and that's how I picked up Mandarin.
Wow.
And my Mandarin's better than my Taiwanese now, but I think more native, like if you want me really angry or excited about something, and the Taiwanese comes out, that's probably because it's much more innate, right? But yeah, I grew up the third culture, fourth culture, one culture. I don't know, a lot of cultures, right? And yeah, and so I think, having been in Taiwan and the States, going back for high school, coming here back to Davis to go to UC Davis. And then actually my junior year, I left and went back to the National Taiwan University and
Oh, wow.
did a semester there. And then throughout my career, I've been kind of, bi-coastal on the Pacific and gone to work in Taiwan and worked here. So yeah.
Do you feel pretty Asian still? Were your parents, I guess your parents didn't come here until they were older, right? Because they had you already. Do you feel pretty Asian? Do you feel locked into the Asian culture still?
I took your test, right?
Oh, you did the Haru.
Love it.
Haru.
Let's promote this test. Go on their website, guys, and take the test. It's really cool. Okay. I scored a 61, so I'm just on the right side of being yellow, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Right on.
Is it all yellow? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Coldplay
think
song.
I think I'm pretty Americanized, but obviously I didn't score below 50. I scored above 50.
I was below 50. Yeah, I'm pretty
And,
white,
some of the
actually.
things that you guys asked for, if you would have asked me like 20 years ago, I would have been even more Asian than I am now. And I think a lot of the questions are like, well, that's just because I'm either lazier now or I have adopted the American way because it's less bad friction, right? So
Less friction. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we still offer slippers to people when they come in. So,
There you go.
Okay,
Still have
that's
that
and if somebody,
validity.
top of the-
you know what I love? You ever watch the movie or the TV show Brother's Son?
Yeah, I saw that.
Right?
Yeah, on Netflix.
That one scene where I don't know, some bad guy comes into their house, right? And all you can think about is he's wearing shoes while he's trying to fight him, right? And he's like, oh my God, they're wearing shoes in the house while he's still trying to kick his ass, right?
Right,
Yeah.
That's
That was awesome.
Yeah,
That-
you can't
that
get that
was
out of your
awesome.
head if you're Asian. You just keep looking at the feet and you're like, what is going on? That person won't take off their shoes.
That's more of a
That's a good
violation, the
series.
fact that he's trying to kill me, right? It was so
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
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 Funny.
That was a great series. So you're married, I'm assuming, to Asian.
Oh yeah, you want my love story very quickly?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the way, Wayne and Hansel and I, all of us started or were part of bands. And
Oh yeah. I was
Yeah.
hoping you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, the cover
Was
band.
it?
we were all,
come on.
and funny,
Is this
we
part of your romantic story.
shared members. Like some of my members of my band went over to your band and
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Big
It all
Dave
kind of
was
melded
your
together. Right?
bassist, our
Yeah,
bassist.
small Bay Area community of garage bands. Okay, so anyway, but we were talking about our motivation for being in bands was so that we can meet chicks. Okay, so
Yeah,
also
because
PC.
that's it.
Hey, I was the only one that I actually had a girlfriend by then, and she became my
Oh,
wife.
okay,
So
so-
FYI.
That
My
is true.
You were a musician.
You were the true musician, I guess.
The
And then
rest
you
of
could
us
just
were
be the wingman,
poser.
though. Yeah. You could be the
Yeah, I was
wingman.
wingman
though.
use. So okay, keep going, Yun.
Okay, so
yeah.
what happened was, I did the same thing, right? And by the time, I think I started out at 38, and then by the time we ended the band, I was 40. And what happened is, when I was about to turn 40, my mom, of all people, said, "Hey, there's somebody I think you should meet." And I said,
wow.
"Okay." And so I got her picture, and she goes, "Oh, she's cute." Okay.
Yeah.
A big plus, right? And then I started emailing her, and then I flew out to meet her and spent basically 7 nights on 7 dates getting to know each other. And
That sounds like a
Wait,
movie
so
title.
you flew out somewhere. How far? We're talking like across the country or
No, I
something?
just went to Taiwan. I mean, I go
Okay, so across the world. So
Yeah.
you flew to Taiwan
halfway across the world. Not a big deal.
Yeah,
for
no big deal.
like 7 dates in a row. First time you met her, 7 dates in a row.
7 dates in a row,
That
right?
balls out, dude.
On the 8th day, I got back on the plane. And back then, this will date me. I had a BlackBerry. I pulled out the BlackBerry and I basically sent a email message to myself or whatever text, and I said, "You've made your decision." And basically, when I landed, I believe it was our mutual friend. I can't remember if it was Rainbow or Judy. You guys both know Judy was
Yeah,
on your
yeah.
podcast, and you both know Rainbow. Or,
Yeah.
one of them picked me up. I think it was Judy. Okay. And I said, "Oh yeah, I met somebody," and they go, "Oh, that's great," because they were driving me to band practice, which was,
Oh, right.
remember the bad by SFO. There was this bad,
Yeah. The
really like scary
studio.
place.
Yeah, very skanky, scary
Stinky.
studio
Yeah,
to
yeah,
rehearse at.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, so we share a lot of experiences, right? So we were going to the studio right after I got off the plane because I basically, had to get to band practice, and I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna marry her," and they're like, "What?"
Whoa.
What?
Whoa. So you knew within a week.
Yeah,
A
within a
little over
week.
a
And
week.
and
That's
it's
crazy.
crazy thing is she was going to come visit me about 10 days later. And I had 10 days to mobilize to get a ring, to find a place to propose to her.
Whoa.
Wait, whoa, you were gonna get a ring already? So this
After
is within a month.
7?
You were like ready to throw down.
Yeah, and just so
That's
you guys are part of
awesome.
the story, the day I proposed to her, so she came on I think it was our 18th day of knowing each other.
Wow.
And it was in the evening, and I had purposely bought her this. Uh, well, I didn't purposely. I bought this dress for her as sort of a present and whatever, and it was very low necked, and so it needed some jewelry. I said, "Hey, we got and so I purposely watched Breakfast at Tiffany's that night. I said, "Hey, it's one of my favorite movies, right?" And I said, "I don't." And then at the end of the movie, we're kind of just talking. Oh, yeah, maybe we can get you a necklace. I don't know where. She goes, "Oh, how about Tiffany's?" Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Let's go to Tiffany's. Of course, everything's planned here. Okay, so
Right.
we basically had blocked off the whole second floor of the Tiffany's, the atrium, and so we found her, a necklace. Okay, well, what they brought out wasn't a necklace; it was a ring box, but she had no clue. Okay,
Whoa.
yeah,
So
and
you
so.
blocked off the whole floor and she was like, how come nobody's here? There's somebody
Yeah.
coming with a
And
ring.
people were serving us champagne, and they're
Oh
like,
my
"What's going on
God.
here?"
Right.
That's awesome. Full on romance, dude.
And so then I got down on one knee and proposed, and she was shocked because she goes, "There's a weird box for a necklace," and she opened it up, and she's like, "What's
Yeah.
this?" And thank God she said yes. And guess what? Right after that, we went to Gary Danko, had dinner, and then we went, I think, to your concert.
One of the Tiffany concerts.
That's
Was it
funny.
it was the one off of on Vaness. I want to say there's a club off of Vaness. Is
Red
that?
Devil Lounge or
Yeah,
something?
Red
Yeah, Red
Devil
Devil Lounge.
Lounge.
We
Yeah.
went to Red Devil
RDL.
Lounge to watch you guys.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
hilarious. I can't, well, that's an amazing story. I almost feel like as you were telling it, I feel like I was like watching some rom-com or something like that. You should make that
Yeah.
into a movie, dude.
Well,
Yeah,
the movie title alone, the 7 dates and 7 nights or something. I mean that's catchy.
Yeah.
That could work.
That's awesome, dude. So you actually met her through your mom. How did your mom know her?
So what happened was because of Funk You, thank God I actually did that. My mom was actually playing the video of our concert, and my wife Christine's aunt was a good friend of my mom, and she had come over and she was watching the video and said, "Hey, I think my niece would really like this guy." She's of course classic pianist and she's a flautist, right? I don't know how she'd make the connection. Well, maybe it's just because it's music, right? But she said, they really should meet. That was a year prior, okay?
Oh,
And
wow.
Wow.
then I gone through some big breakup, and at that point I told my mom I'm going through some breakup. She goes, "Oh, well, I've been kind of
I
holding
got
off for a
somebody.
whole year
Oh, right. Perfect
But
timing.
the source of the whole thing was your band. So the
It
band did get you
was,
the
it
chick.
was,
See,
it
the
all
band
worked out.
It
still did the trick. The
So
band
everybody
does
out
the
there should
trick.
start a band. That's awesome. And soon you were the lead singer, right? Did you also play anything?
Okay, so I was a really crappy lead singer, but I was. And it was so challenging for the band because we had to pick songs that only could live within an octave and a half range because I couldn't go too
I hear, yeah, I was right there.
Yeah, there you
And so it's
go.
like AC and the Sunshine Band. And we always from day one said we wanted to do a Earth, Wind, and Fire song because we were a funk
Love
band.
Earth, Wind,
And
and
I
Fire.
always
Yeah.
wanted to do Earth, Wind, Fire. So we
Yeah.
did finally Let's Groove. And in post edit, I when we were trying to hit the high notes, we didn't hit them. So I actually post edited, I added the high notes. So just, that's how bad we were.
That's
But
awesome,
look
though.
at the end result, though. How bad
Yeah.
it's how good you were. It still worked. That's the whole key, right?
Well, that's the best part, dude. So I was also the lead singer in our band, and so you and I know, like, and I was also a terrible singer. Had to fit my octave range. But it's all about the showmanship, right? It's all about getting on and how do you connect to the audience. I think that's a great skill, especially for Asians like us.
I
You don't
think
see it
that's
very often.
critical. Yep. It's so funny that you started with the hey, was it Hey Ya, that song?
Yeah,
Hey,
hey,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Outcast, right? We
Outcast.
did that in our first concert, and the most
I
challenging
remember it.
part, you do remember it, yeah.
No,
The
I
most
totally do.
challenging part of that song is when they go, I forgot but it's kind of a rap at the
Yeah,
end.
that's it.
Right? Okay. It is one of the hardest sequences to figure out. I sat in a car was it Stonestown parking lot remember Dory Mark, guys? He was in the
Sure.
band
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah.
We sat there and we had to count the beats, and he is a trained musician, and it took us
Yeah.
an hour to figure out the complexity of that little da, 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 da,
Oh,
da,
wow.
da. Oh, it's really hard because it's not what you would think, and it was
That's
very
part of the fun, man. That's
And
figuring out
Outcast
those
probably
hard
would
to.
say that was their good friction to try to throw that in there,
Yeah.
right? Just to make it
impossible to
more
copy.
impossible
That's
to
awesome.
copy and very sticky.
It's
Yeah,
super cool to reminisce about that stuff, man. Those are some of the best times
they
that
were
Wayne and I have
guys.
had in our lives for sure.
They were
But
great.
let's see, time is running short here. Let's get to the next section of the podcast, Wayne.
All right.
All right, now we got the gong. So we are moving
Asian
into the
gong soon
Haru, the
for
Asian
you.
gong. Asian gong for you. So let's talk about the Asian stuff a little bit more. So we'll throw some random questions at you soon about the Asian culture and see how far we get. It's none of these are on the Haru quiz, so you will not have seen these already. But they are generally related to you in some way. So all right, let's start off. Let's see how you do. All right, so you're a business guy. You know a lot about businesses everywhere. China is actually has a lot of pretty awesome businesses. Let's see what you know. All right, so China is doing really well with their electric cars. I don't know if you know much about their electric cars. Which one of these is not a Chinese EV company?
Ooh.
All right, is it A, Build Your Dreams, B, Yang Wang, C, Jeet Kune Do, or D, Xpeng?
Oh, geez. I have no freaking clue.
Oh, really?
I
Oh, I
am
thought you would have known.
I really don't. Well, I'm
Well, I would do it the elimination way. There's some that sound very Hansel-like. It's
well,
just
yeah, like build your dream sounds like the one I would probably choose, but I think you probably threw it in there it probably is one, but I'll go with that just because it's the obvious choice, but I'm sure I'm just like 80% sure I'm wrong.
You are right that you are wrong.
yeah, you are right that you're wrong. There you go. Get
Build Your
credit.
Dreams actually BYD is actually it's actually bigger than Tesla now. They just
Oh, it's
overtook
that
Tesla.
BYD. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Those are the guys that they just invented the super fast charging. So like you can charge like within 5 minutes now. Those guys' cars, you can charge them in 5 minutes.
China
Um,
is no, I wasn't gonna say notorious. No, actually, they should be celebrated. They're good at taking American innovation and actually making it 10 times better.
Yeah.
oh my
AI, I
God.
mean, look at AI, right?
Holy cow.
Look at
DeepSeek.
AI. It's
Have you been
crazy.
soon to China recently in the last, I don't know, 5 years?
Not recently, not since COVID, actually. I haven't been
COVID?
back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean,
forward.
like just on Instagram and stuff, I see so many like DeepSeek, like you said, they're working on like a fusion reactor. They're best at the EVs. I just read they just came up with this battery, this like little battery that'll last like 50 years. Essentially, like you never need to change it out. I mean,
I
China's
mean, look
insane.
at the WeChat and look how that was a combination of a bunch of platforms here in the US.
Yeah.
And look at their Amazon equivalent that basically they're the first ones to deliver on the spot that day, right? Day
Right.
of. And
Yeah.
so they have been at the forefront of, I think, taking what were the original innovations here in the US and I think supercharging them. And so, yeah,
100%. Yeah.
here's actually one thing that I was talking to somebody else last night about, and it was this idea that, oh, I know, I was talking to the dean of the UC Davis Graduate School of Management, and he said, right now, because of all the different policies, basically grad students probably are instead of there's going to be a huge exodus of grad students, meaning that both they're not going to apply and a lot of them can't find jobs, so they're all going to have to go home.
Mm.
And that's kind of unfortunate because that's a huge brain drain that has actually been part of the formula for us to win and stay competitively.
Yeah. So you're talking
Spanish
about
school.
those from China are
Yeah.
not applying
And
as much to go
now
back. Yeah.
China has a
Right.
policy that they're giving away free grad degrees, free
Yeah.
education, and their goal is to bring 600,000 of the brightest minds across the entire world to work and live and study in China.
Yeah, yeah, and their universities are like coming up
Oh
on
yeah.
the list and everything. I mean, it's a little scary. I mean, we have a lot of tension with them right now, but the stuff they're doing there, man. I mean, in 10 years, I can't imagine what they're gonna be able to do.
I know.
All right, so next question, we'll talk a little bit more about a pop culture icon from Taiwan called Ding Tai Fung. You've been to there, right? I'm sure you've
I
been to Ding
have.
Tai Fung a million times. All right, so what do we know about their corporate culture? How many Ding Tai Fung locations are there in the world? Is it 30, 180, or 520? Which one?
180.
Dang.
180, you got it.
Dang.
Didn't even
All
have to think
right.
about it. Did you
I was
actually know that
definitely
offhand?
like 30.
No, I knew there's like 30 in Taiwan. So
Oh, okay. Okay. So that bypassed that one. Gotcha.
I mean, that is such a high-end restaurant. I never would have thought there'd be so many locations. I would have guessed 30 for sure.
do you
Yeah.
know who
I was
has
thinking around
more?
30.
Do you know who has more than Ding Tai Fung?
Yeah.
Meat Fresh.
Oh,
Oh, Meat
yeah.
Fresh,
Meat Fresh is going crazy.
the
Yeah,
what do you call it?
it's a
That
Taiwanese
dessert.
dessert,
It's
and
just,
I think it's
yeah.
like 500 or 800. It's in
My
those.
wife loves
Yeah,
Meat Fresh. It's
yeah.
the all that shaved,
I
kind of
can't
shaved
stand that
ice, but
stuff,
it's
man.
different. It's different. It's a
It's
different
I
definitely
shaved
there's
ice.
shaved ice, but it's a lot of glutinous rice,
yeah,
The
balls,
Jello, yeah.
taro.
it's very
Yeah.
Taiwanese. Do you like that stuff, Sue? Do you?
I do. My belly is evidence of it.
Right on, all the sugar. Cool. All right. All right. So last one is more like an open question. So, and Wayne, let's see what your answer is too. Who was more influential to the world? Jensen Huang, Taiwanese guy, runs, of course,
NVIDIA.
NVIDIA, or Bruce Lee, who did
Oh,
not have that much money.
Hmm.
you got
Well,
it.
I know my answer. You want me to go, Wayne, or do you want to go first?
Go. You can go ahead. You can go ahead. I'll
Okay.
override it if it's wrong.
He'll override it. If
So
it's wrong, he'll override it.
from a pure financial impact, it's Jensen, but from a cultural impact and call it the iconicity and growing up, basically being bullied and wanting some home, and
Yeah.
kind of reminded of the little ad that was in the comic books about some skinny guy and then he became buffed, right? That Bruce Lee was kind of our magic ticket to become somehow cool, right? It's Bruce Lee for me. Not full respect for
It's
Jensen, but it's Bruce Lee for
Yeah.
me.
It's
Right
Bruce Lee for
answer.
me. I mean, Bruce Lee is your book, iconic. I mean, come on. He's that and more. He's
He's
basically
Aconic.
he, he's
Yeah, he's
iconic. He's
iconic. Absolutely.
iconic
He's
and
iconic.
aconic.
Iconic,
He's
baby.
every alphabet
That's awesome.
before conic.
Yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
thing is Jensen Huang is basically changing the world, right? I mean he'll say something and it'll affect stock markets and all that stuff. But everybody knows Bruce Lee, man. Like all of us Asians, like you said, he impacted us culturally when we were getting bullied as kids. It was all about the
Yeah.
Bruce.
Yeah,
Got
we
us
all
through our
wanted to channel our
childhoods.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The power of Bruce.
Yeah, and
Well, right on. Well, that's
he
a pretty.
owns something deeper in our psyche than Jensen will ever own.
Yeah, yeah. There's something
Absolutely.
about him.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
saying that I'm praying that we get Jensen as a guest for our podcast.
Yeah,
that would
that's
be.
right. Well, go
He's
to
gonna
the
replay
green
this and say,
room.
"That's why I'm not a guest." Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta get Shannon Lee's on your podcast. She's the next best thing to Bruce Lee, man. His
Okay, got
daughter.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, awesome stuff, man. Great stuff. So let's wrap up this podcast soon and have you give us a life tip for the audience.
Yeah, I think it's really simple. You asked me at the beginning to think about it. I already automatically thought about it. It's really, you know, eat well, love well, sleep well. I mean, that's it. I mean, if you, life is, I mean, that's what we do almost every day, except potentially the love well part, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't sleep as well as I'd like, but anytime I can get sleep, I really value it. And I think and I told my son, the 15-year-old kids, they just don't like to sleep or they just don't prioritize that. But I just said, man, that's a superpower. If you sleep more than your counterparts, it's a competitive advantage. And then, eat well. I mean, gosh, I mean, that's not a hard one to really go after. And the last thing I'll probably say is this. I'll share what I said to myself. Now I'm on year 3 of this now. So it was a little over 2 years ago during New Year's, I made a resolution and I always found that resolutions during New Year's are sometimes hard to keep. This one has been very easy to keep and what I keep for the rest of my life. And it was just a real simple one. Find more joy. And
I like
all
that.
decision making, whether it be career, whether it be choosing clients to work for, or whether it be on a personal level, is it bringing more joy? And if it's not, then serious consideration, don't need to do it.
Yeah, I love that. It's a great summary of basically, don't be chasing all that money stuff. Just do the stuff that matters to you the most. And then, especially as we get older, it matters so much more. It wraps around with the eating well and sleeping well as well. We all need our rest. We shouldn't be eating all that meat fresh, and all those bobas, right?
That is eating well, though. That's what
That is a different type of well.
That's what he
Yeah,
meant.
there's a different kind of well. I mean,
And
White
another
Castle
well is just
is
the
my
love well. Yeah. The
I like
love
fast
well
food.
also I think is very important. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
just the idea that you don't have to love everyone, but just for the people that are closest to you, love well. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Well, Soon, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, man. Congrats on all your success, man. We've always looked up to all this crazy stuff that you've done. You've done some really good stuff in your life. So, congratulations and appreciate you being on today.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks,
And
Sue.
you guys may not know this, but I've been following your lead. You guys had the band way before I did. You guys started a successful podcast way before I ever got involved. So, hey, I'm just hoping to get some crumbs from White Castle. So that's
That is our level.
funny.
We'll send you some White Castle sliders when we have time. Thanks,
Yeah.
Soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
We are sponsored by none other than theCoder School, a company that teaches kids how to code with over 70 locations all around the country. So if you're interested in getting kids to code, head online and check us out. Learn to code, change the world. Thanks for listening.